Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Pisces, Sun, Moon and Ascendant for the month of November. Hope you're well. So, I'll just give these a good shuffle and we'll get on with this. Let's see what the cards say. I have 3 cards for Pisces, please, for November. That's the first one. We've got 2. Oh, beg your pardon, we've got 3. Right, I'm not going to take them because it's too many, but we've got the King of Wands, the King of Cups, and the Devil. That's Leo, Scorpio, and Capricorn, respectively. Interesting that they should appear. I'm going to put them back in because it's too many. I only want one for your present, for your recent past. Recent past, please. There we go. It is the 4 of Cups. Okay. Let's get 2 more cards for your current energy and what's coming towards you. Pisces, current energy. Page of Cups, that's delightful because that is a card that I associate with Pisces. I don't think it has a strict astrological correspondence, but I genuinely can't connect it to any other sign than Pisces. It feels very Piscean to me. It's coming towards Pisces, please. Ooh, hello. Got the Page of Swords. Interesting. So, all minor arcana. Minor what now? Minor arcana. But at the bottom of the deck, interestingly, we have the Strength card. There's that fucking Leo again. And the Emperor, which is Aries energy. Now, that's 2 fire sign cards at the bottom of the deck. Right? The shadow cards. They indicate a theme, right, that underpins the entire reading. And for yours, we have growth with strength. And when I say growth, I mean kind of soul growth, you know. And with the Emperor, we have an element of control being brought in somewhere. Right? Now, I feel like these two kind of relate to each other, and it feels like you getting a grip on everything at the moment, right? Certainly more of a grip than you've had. Like the last couple of readings that I did for Pisces were slightly concerning, but I did feel like you were kind of turning a corner. I can't actually even remember what I talked about with you last time, but I remember that the penultimate one that I did was very concerning, and the next one seemed to be a little bit better. This feels like progression, right? Interesting that there would both be fire element cards there. There's an underlying stability with it coming through, which is good. It's really, really good. So let's get some clarifiers, and I'm going to go with the John Bauer deck, and we'll see where we go from there. Got the 3 of Swords underneath the 4 of Cups. And we have the World with the 4 of Pentacles. That's interesting. Right. Tell me about the Page of Cups, please. Thank you. Got the Queen of Wands. About the Page of Cups. And the King of Pentacles. Interesting. And what about the Page of Swords? What's that here for Pisces? We've got the Lover's card. That's Gemini in the Major Arcana. Page of Swords. Page of Swords. And fucking drop that one as well. Have a look. And the 5 of Cups in reverse, which I like very much for you. We've got the Page of Wands at the bottom of the deck. So we've got a lot of pages here, a lot of page energy. Followed by the 8 of Pentacles and the 9 of Cups and the Sun. Ooh, this is very intriguing because there is that Leo energy that we talk about every single reading. It's right there. Now, The fact that you have a multitude of pages is very intriguing to me. Pages can be messengers, but for me, they often indicate the start of something, like the lowest echelon of the court hierarchy, of all the court hierarchies. And you've got swords, wands, and cups pages here. So, I mean, without jumping too far ahead of myself, what it feels like is that there are a number of moves in new directions that you are about to take, where I feel like you were kind of halted before, right? I said there was a kind of dark energy that you were in a few readings ago. Difficult things had happened. The last one seemed to be kind of moving away from this a little bit, and this one seems to be kind of turning your eye towards the possibility of something new ahead, right? And we'll get to what that is shortly, I'm sure. So the very first card that you've got is the Four of Cups, and this is in your recent past. Now, sometimes we can see this card associated with being taken for granted, right? It's but it doesn't feel like that here for you. It feels like, well, this mermaid is staring into a pool, and there are kind of fairies with cups all around her, and she's not looking at them. You know, it's almost like they're invisible. She's not having a strop and refusing to look at them. She just does not see them. And so, in effect, by accident, what she's doing is kind of rejecting them. And I'm wondering if this is your feelings here. I think it is. It feels like you have been rejected in some way by someone, right? Or there's a feeling of having been left alone somehow. You haven't had what you needed. You haven't had what you wanted. No. And it's clarified by the Three of Swords, the World, and the Four of Pentacles. Now, this is really interesting to me because we know what the Three of Swords is, man. It's just a card that you never have to explain to anyone because it's perfectly obvious what the issue is, right? I'm getting so sick to death of not being able to have my window open because fucking noise, I swear down, honestly. I want to go and live in the woods where it's quiet. But it's followed by the World and the Four of Pentacles. Now, the World card speaks of an end, right? It's the end of a cycle, but not just any cycle. It's the end of a major cycle. And so I feel like it's a cycle that encompasses what it was that you found difficult a couple of readings ago, but is not solely related to that thing, right? It kind of enveloped it all. But this is a cycle that's gone on for much, much longer. But what these three cards here talk about is the release of pain, right? It's allowing things to come to a close, it feels like grieving, actually. Well, you know, so there are, however many stages of grief that there are. This feels like what this is. It's like you've progressed through levels of grief. Now, for some of you, there will almost certainly be a bereavement, right? Because people die, right? And statistically speaking, somebody has lost someone somewhere, right, recently. But this isn't necessarily true for all of you. For some of you, it may be feelings of abandonment for someone who has not been there for you when you wanted them to be, who has not shown up for you in the way that you wanted them to. Right? There's some sort of loss here that you have felt, but it's almost like you're making peace with it as you're moving through those stages of grief. For whatever it is that you've lost, in whatever way that you've lost it, there's a peace returning to you, and that's great. I'm so happy about that because loss is difficult to bear. Now, particularly if you struggle in other ways, in this reality. Having people around you that you feel like you can trust, that you feel like you can rely on, go a long way to helping you, feel grounded and secure. And when they are gone for whatever reason and in whatever way, it can be very, very difficult. But rather than clinging to it, I feel like you are releasing it now. You're kind of letting it go, and that's excellent. So we move to the Page of Cups. Like I said, I always feel like this is very Piscean energy, and I'm sure somebody will tell me off in the comments for that. But again, what I see is peace here. Rather than the standard depiction of a cup with a fish in it, and this kind of slightly whimsical view that we have, it's a mermaid and she's under the water and she's on the seabed and she's holding this big, big dish. And she's sat bolt upright and she's just peacefully inhaling the steam. It actually looks like that. If the camera will pick it up, right? It's a very serene look that she has on her face. It's a very serene scene altogether. There's acceptance, there's compassion here. She doesn't look particularly happy, but she doesn't look grief-stricken either, and I think that's kind of the important thing here. I'll pull another card for this. I want it from a different deck though. Which deck do I want? Yeah. Get one more. One more card for Page of Cups, please. Now that's interesting. That's very interesting. What's come out is the Nine of Swords, the King of Wands. It's that King of Wands again. The Seven of Cups and the Ten of Cups. So the Ten of Cups has already come out for you once before, hasn't it? Has it? Was it? No. No, I just completely made that up. We now have a King of Wands, Queen of Wands, and the King of Pentacles. Queen of Wands is Aries, and we've had Aries out, right, as one of the shadow cards, right? King of Wands is Leo, and we've got Strength, which is the Leo card. And then we've got this King of Pentacles here. Now, we've just had a whole heap of kings fall out with the devil, if you remember. But we also have the Nine of Swords, the Seven of Cups, and the Ten of Cups. So are these court cards here, are these people in your environment at the moment, in which case they would be Taurus, Aries, and Leo. And these could well be family members, actually. Regardless of whether these are family members or not, right? Regardless of whether you can pinpoint these particular signs that are around you at the moment, there's something quite interesting going on here. There's a dynamic that I'm picking up on where you are feeling kind of overpowered somewhat by the people and the personalities around you. These two kings, right? Very forceful personalities. Queen of Wands is a very forceful personality as well. And I would like to be able to say that they're part of your energetic makeup here. They're part of you and what you're planning to do, but I don't feel like they are. They feel like they're external to you. And here's you sat at the bottom of your emotions, under the sea, trying to keep your shit together, being peaceful, trying to work through the stages of whatever it is that you've been suffering with the loss of before, and feeling slightly overpowered by it, feeling like this is really intriguing. And I don't know, like this is the thread that I see, and this is the one that I'm going with, right? with this Nine of Swords and the Seven of Cups and the Ten of Cups here, it feels like you are being made to feel like you should be grateful for something, right? And it's bothering you a little bit because it feels transactional. These relationships that are around you at the moment, they feel transactional, like they don't stand on their own. It's about what you can do for them and you being grateful about what they do for you. It seems to be what is surrounding you at the moment, and it's difficult to find your peace when you have that kind of environment around you. Now, I love the King and Queen of Wands. Like, I love them dearly. They're the royalty of my personal element, right? So I think they're awesome. But I feel uncomfortable with them here, presenting in the way that I do, that they are. And I've got to say that this King of Pentacles came out in the reverse as well. Now, I didn't speak to that immediately because I was still trying to work out whether it was your energy or not. And if it was your energy, then this would be more like a kind of rejection of responsibilities than anything else. But I just heard Cinderella, which is madness. Like, I see you engaged in some deep work. I see you trying to keep your calm, trying to do your work, trying to work through whatever it is that you're dealing with. But there are external actors around you at the moment who are making that very difficult for you. And I'm not entirely sure that they are aware of how difficult they're making it for you. It seems like forceful personalities and opinions are surrounding you at the moment. And there's this sense that you should be feeling grateful for what is being offered to you at the moment, or what these people are doing around you is very, very strong. But there's just a little bit of you that's just like, no. And that's not to say that you are not expressing gratitude, because it's not about that. It feels like this situation kind of has you questioning your understanding of what family is and what family should be and how family should support. It seems like you're working to an entirely different hymn sheet to the people around you, right? I don't feel malice. I don't feel, that somebody is going out of their way to make things difficult for you, but it's just sort of happening by dint of the personalities and the strength of the personalities that are involved. And they certainly don't have to be Taurus, Leo or Aries, but they would be people with forceful personalities that happen to be around you at the moment, right? And the characteristics of the suit that these, particular court cards represent. It feels very confusing for you at the moment, almost sort of, like I said, questioning your reality. I was going to say sort of almost gaslighty, but it's not abusive like that. It's just totally different wavelengths. So what's coming towards you in November is the Page of Swords. Now, this card I usually associate with changing the way that you think about something, right? I often associate it with the philosophy student who starts at uni and in the first term has the mind absolutely blown apart with the philosophical concepts that they're introduced to, and they're just like, the mental horizons just expand dramatically. But for you, I don't feel like it's philosophical mental horizons that need expanding. It's pulling the power back to you. Like, I have a strange feeling that you have been being emotionally manipulated here. And I'm going to say it again, I don't think the people that are doing it are really aware that they are. But that is how it's coming across, right? Certainly to you. Where's this card? Yeah. What have we got on the bottom here? I've got the Tower card at the bottom, right? Scorpio, Aries energy. Well, we've got this Lovers card underneath the Page of Swords, and it's flanked at the bottom and at the side by 2 5 cards. And we've got the 5 of Pentacles here, and then next to it, from the John Bower, we've got the 5 of Cups in reverse. Now, if we just skip to these 5s for a second, right? 5s are uncomfortable energy. It's an uncomfortable shift in some way. For me personally, the way I see the 5 of Pentacles is quite often a realization that your needs are not being met in some way, right? The card talks about poverty, it talks about lack, it talks about, you know, a fear of those things. And if you extrapolate it on, then to me, it seems like your needs are not being met in some particular way, right? But it feels like you are realizing this. And this is where the shift comes, right? The shift is in the mental realization of this rather than the actuality of it in front of you. The fact that the 5 of Cups is in reverse is really interesting, because the 5 of Cups talks about shame, it talks about guilt, it talks about regret quite often. It talks about loss sometimes and grief and all these kind of things. But it's that 5 energy again. It's like inherently unstable. Now, for me, the most stabilizing thing that you can do to 5 energy is to flip it the other way around, right? Invert it, and then it becomes stable. And what I see here is a kind of a shift in your thinking. And I'm going to go into this in the extended. We're going to see how this occurs. Right? A shift in your thinking in the month of November that allows you to shake off. Do you remember I said, like, I felt like you were being emotionally manipulated. I felt like you were being guilt tripped, that you were being made to feel like you should be more grateful than you are. Well, this card kind of confirms it to me here, because the fact that it's here. But being in the reverse sees you coming out of that energy, right? And noticing that your needs are not being met in whatever situation that you find yourself at the moment, and then stepping up to make the changes, right? It feels like a reclamation of power from you or by you to something else, right? Little tower moment with it in the interim, because possibly you might have to break some eggs to make this omelette. That's the last card. Oh. 4 of Swords. Now this is interesting. There you are at the bottom of the deck, Pisces, High Priestess, looking pretty peaceful, I have to say, under the light of the moon. Ooh, and we've got a big full moon happening in on the 31st of October. Quite looking forward to that one, personally. Well, when I clarified the Lovers further, which for me is a choice and is a card of manifestation, and it's not about choosing, you know, one thing over another. It's the act of stepping up and making that decision in the first place. It's owning the fact that you are in charge of your life and you get to make the decisions about where you go, what you do, all that kind of thing. I pulled 2 more cards for that, and what I've got is the 4 of Swords and the 3 of Wands. And this is interesting because the 3 of Wands is also a card of manifestation for me, because it's about doing. It's about getting out there in the world and things becoming, physically expressed. The stuff that's been going on in here, then coming out into the world in your actions, in the way that you do things, right? But this is also really important because this is a card that speaks of detachment. It's the 4 of Swords. It's my meditation card, right? And you've got these 3 swords that are suspended up here, and this was 1 down on the ground, right? We've got the ace down there, and we've got the 3 up there. Right? That's heartache, that's loss, that's difficulty. Hello, that's that card over there, right? It's about stepping back from something so that you can look at it objectively and process it, right? Work out how you're going to heal quite often. It's about retreating from a situation. For you specifically, it feels like you're moving away from whoever it is that is bothering you here in your, current energy. And for some of you, that might actually involve moving house, right? The Tower card can sometimes speak about a literal building, and we've got, detachment going on here and then movement going on here, right? Moving away from something. So that's quite possible for some of you. But whether or not it's going to involve a literal move to a new building. You are detaching from this energy, from whoever these people are, and moving away from them a little bit and going off kind of on your own. Like, I feel like these people have tried to be really supportive, but there's something a bit toxic going on here. And I don't like the way that you feel around this, you know. It's making you question things that you shouldn't have to be questioning, right? But it's all part of the journey. There's always, there's always something for you to learn from this situation. But as things stand, it's not really doing for you what it is that you wanted it to do. And it looks like in November, you're going to separate yourself from it altogether. Trusting yourself, moving forwards. Actually, the Fool is underneath the High Priestess there as well. So definite movement away and a more solitary kind of movement. This is really intriguing. I'm going to go to Vimeo now, like I said. So if you're interested in that, if this reading has resonated for you, have a look down in the description box, because there'll be a link down there to the Vimeo. And I'm going to go over there and kind of pull this apart a little bit and see what's going on. So know that I love you all. I'm glad that things are a bit better than they were before. Genuinely I am. And I'll see you soon.